Hi guys, welcome to another Fantasy Football Picks video here on the Jamie Hinks Fantasy Football channel. Thanks a lot for everyone that viewed last week. It was actually the most viewed video I've ever had, over 400 views for the first ever time. So thank you very much for watching and continuing to watch. This week, I'm not going to be going through my team from last week, but I'm going through my 8-man lineup for this weekend's games. So let's jump right into it. So it's a big weekend in the Premier League this weekend. Plenty still to be decided. Loads of stuff up for grabs down the bottom. Sunderland could even stay up. I don't think they will, but they've still got a chance. So first up in goal, I've gone for Jordan Pickford of Sunderland, who is only $4,400. That's pretty much the major reason why I picked him this week. But you get a lot of value at that price. He's actually 8.3 fantasy points per game, which is very, very good for a goalkeeper playing for a team that have been rooted to the bottom of the league for pretty much the entire season. But he actually got a nomination for the Young Player of the Year award this week as well, which is absolutely excellent. I think that will really give him a lot more confidence coming into this game if he needed it. But last 3 games, all defeats, but he's had 7 saves per game across that run, 10.75 fantasy points per game in those games as well. So at $4,400, you're getting good value there because he's getting double figures most weeks. 4.9 saves per game across the entire season is the best figure in the entire league. I think he's going to go off to bigger and better things after he leaves Sunderland at the end of the season. But for now, get him in your fantasy team most weeks, this week as well, just because I think favourable fixture against West Ham, not going to be many goals in that game, and I think you'll get good value. So I'm staying down the bottom of the league for my second player. It's Andrew Robertson of Hull, who's only $4,000 this week. 6.4 fantasy points per game isn't great, but over the last 3, he's actually got that up to 11.3 fantasy points per game. And he's one of the Hull players who seems to be doing very well since the arrival of Marco Silva back in January. He loves to get forward, loves to cross. I think they've got a good fixture this week. I don't think they're going to win that just because their away record is so poor. But Stoke are a team that are on horrible form at the moment. So I think if you go play against Stoke this weekend, you probably do okay in a few categories. As I say, don't think they're going to win, but I think he'll do well. 1 goal, 1 assist and 3.5 crosses per game over his last 3. It's a solid pick. It's nothing fantastic, but it does give you more money to spend further up your team. So alongside him, I've gone even lower in price here. I've gone for Javier Manquillo, who is $3,000. Only averaging 2.9 fantasy points per game. But after Brian Oviedo's injury, I think you may as well pick him. He's a fullback. He might get a few points for you there. He's going to have the opportunity to get forward a little bit against West Ham. But he actually returned a reasonable total last week, considering he only played just over half the game. 5 points, which almost value there, I think. He's almost getting double his value. Good numbers in the interception and cross columns over the games that he has started this season. If you don't want to go for Manquillo, and I'd completely understand that, I think you go for a centre-back. I was tempted by Andrea Ranocchia of Hull and also Alfie Mawson of Swansea, because I think those 2 games, these 2 could pop up with a headed goal, which they've done quite a lot this season. And I think those 2, if you don't want to take Manquillo, Ranocchia, Mawson around the same price, they'd be good picks too. So moving up into the midfield, and I've had to go back to Crystal Palace after our great run of form recently, and it's Wilfried Zaha, $7,900 on DraftKings, 12.6 fantasy points per game this season, cruelly overlooked for the Young Player of the Year award this week. I really can't see how Leroy Sané's got in there ahead of him, but maybe I am a little bit biased because I'm a Palace fan. But he's having the best season of his career this season. 2 assists against Arsenal on Monday night in that game, which I'm still absolutely flabbergasted that we actually won that easily against Arsenal, but great performance there. Palace have been so good of late. Only Spurs have got a better record in the league right now. And Zaha, 5 straight double-digit fantasy point performances on DraftKings. Leicester's backups are going to be in for this game because this is sandwiched in between those 2 legs of the Champions League. They're still very much in that tie after only losing 1-0 to Atletico Madrid. So you're going to have Chilwell and you're going to have a Marty at fullback for Leicester, and I think that really does spell massive danger for them. I think Zaha, and you could even take Townsend if he's fit, because I think they're going to have a very good day against Leicester. So alongside him in midfield, I've gone for a guy who I used to love picking back in last season, is Xherdan Shaqiri of Stoke, who's $6,500. Made his first start since January last week against Liverpool and got the assist on the only goal there. But what I wanted to focus on as well is he's just an absolute cross machine. He had 10 crosses last week, which is just what we came to expect from Shaqiri last season. If you didn't play DraftKings Fantasy Football last season, it was when crosses were still worth 1 point, and you had sort of Shaqiri was up there with the likes of De Bruyne, Sigurdsson, scoring double-digit for crosses every single week. Sadly, he's been injured for quite a lot of this season, but I think this week the ownership will be very high just because they're playing Hull at home, and Hull really don't travel well under Marco Silva. And he's the kind of player who doesn't need goals or assists to get his points. So yeah, I think pick him this week and you'll be very, very happy with your choice. So straight into the forward line, and I've had to go for Romelu Lukaku this week, who's $10,600 on DraftKings. I can't see any reason why he won't get a couple of goals in this week's game. Lovely little fixture for him here against Burnley at home, of course, who haven't even won an away game all season. So they're down there with your Hulls and your Leicesters in the bad away form bracket. Lukaku's been nominated for the Player of the Year and the Young Player of the Year award, just to show that for a 23-year-old, he's still doing incredibly well. Top scorer in the Premier League, of course. Scored in 8 straight home games for Everton, so that just tells you all you need to know. Got 2 last week in that win against Leicester. Last 10 Premier League games, 11 goals, 2 assists. Absolute no-brainer this week on Lukaku, and that's coming from someone who doesn't rate him particularly highly. So I think get him in your team and you'll be very happy. Alongside him up front, I've gone for Watford's Mbai Niang, who is only $6,000 on DraftKings. I think that's excellent value this week. He looked very, very dangerous in the early stages last week against Spurs. And when you consider that they did get absolutely blown away 4-0 by the second place side, the fact that he got 5.8 points in that game is very, very good. And there's two of his home games for the Hornets. He's had a goal and an assist on the same day. Last one against West Brom did very, very well. It's only Swansea this weekend, so I really think he'll have a good day, and I think pick him. If Deeney's back as well, I think his value rises even higher, and 6,000 looks very, very cheap for him by Niang. So last but not least, it's Kevin Morales in the util spot of Everton, $7,200. He's been a very, very good fantasy football pick all season long because he takes quite a lot of set pieces for Everton. And last time out, 2 assists against Everton. That means he's got 4 goals and 6 assists this season. Hasn't started as many games as he probably would have wanted to, the Belgian winger. But I think if you think Everton are going to win, and I think they will do, I think they'll win quite well. It will be 2 or 3-0 or 2 or 3-1. I think you pick Morales, maybe even get Barkley in this spot. I like Morales slightly more just because of Ross Barkley getting punched in the face in a nightclub the other night, so who knows if he'll play or not. But yeah, Kevin Morales finishing off my team. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video once again this week. Subscribe to the channel if you like what you see here, and you can get updates whenever I get a new video uploaded. Please give it a thumbs up below if you liked the content, and I will see you all again next week. Thank you very much for watching. Good luck this weekend, and goodbye.